Good morning, guys and gals. Welcome back to the channel and another driving video. I used to do these driving videos all the time, and if you've been on the channel for a while and you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know the fact that I used to do these driving videos on a regular basis. In fact, at one point, all of my videos on the channel were done while I was driving the car. I never used to do the videos where I was on camera talking to the camera. That's a really recent thing. So all my previous videos were like this, you know, where I was actually driving the car. In this case, Orwin. Sometimes I did videos driving my Astra, sometimes driving Sylvia when I still had Sylvia. So yeah, I'm just driving to work again in my 40-year-old daily driver. Again, just proving that you can use a 40-year-old car as a daily driver. One thing I wanted to talk about today was technology in modern day cars, and how, you know, some people might be put off having an old car because it's not got the spec, it's not got the technology, it's not got the, you know, the built-in touchscreen and things that modern day cars have. But one thing I'd like to point out is that I do actually have a touchscreen. I've got sat nav. I can play music off Spotify and Amazon and YouTube. You know, I can do everything that anybody can do in a modern day car in my 40-year-old Cavalier. And why is that? Well, what am I doing right now? I'm recording this video using my mobile phone on my phone holder on my windscreen. So I've got all the features of a modern day car attached to my windscreen. So I'll just let this girl go. So I should have already started going onto it roundabout anyway. So I've got all the modern day features right in front of me on my mobile phone, attached to my windscreen on my phone holder. So I don't need a modern day car to have the modern day features. I've even got a little Bluetooth device that my radio tunes into. So if I want to play music from my phone through my car stereo, I can do. And then obviously if somebody phones me, I can answer the phone and talk to them hands-free. So I've got Bluetooth. I've got you know, a hands-free phone, just like you would in a modern day car. I've got sat nav because I can use either Apple Maps or I can use Google Maps. So I've got sat nav when I need it. So I've got all them features. So where people say, oh, I don't want an old car because it's not got touchscreen and it's not got sat nav and it's not got music, it's not got Apple CarPlay or Android Auto or whatever, well, you can do. Just do what I do and just put your phone on a phone holder on your windscreen. You've got it all there at the touch of your fingers. Now, because I have my phone holder right up at the top of the windscreen, right next to the rear view mirror, it actually gives you a better view than it does on some cars where it sits lower down on the dashboard. So I actually have a better view of the sat nav than you do in a lot of modern day cars where they sit lower down in the dash. So there's nothing really that anybody can say to me to convince me that a modern day car is better. I suppose the only way that you could argue a modern day car is better is probably for safety features. Because I will admit, you won't want to have an accident, you won't want to have a crash in an older car like this. Certainly not a high-speed one. Because, yeah, granted, you know, it's not got seatbelt tensioners, it's not got ABS, it's not got airbags, it's not got side impact protection. It does have crumple zones, so you do have some level of protection. And I suppose, you know, I can understand people not wanting an older car like this for the family. You know, if you've got a young family with young kids, I can understand you not wanting to drive your family around in an old car like this on a regular basis as your daily driver. I'd get that. I understand that. I mean, that's one reason why a lot of people these days go for SUVs. You know, go for things like Qashqais and Sportages and that kind of thing, because they like having the higher up driving position where you get a better view of the road. And that's why more and more cars these days are SUV kind of style cars, because it gives people with families that kind of a feeling of being safer. Just try to join the motorway with this truck who's decided to block the lane. Not that it has to move over, of course. You don't have to give way when joining the motorway, but it's just a bit of common decency to do it. Anyway, on the motorway. So how does a 40-year-old car perform on the motorway? Just like any modern day car, that's how. I mean, obviously, like I've said previously, you know, a hot hatch with 300, 400 horsepower like they do these days is going to outperform it, obviously, but as a daily driver, by comparison to everyday ordinary modern cars, it keeps up with just about everything on the road. You know, it keeps up with everything, apart from, obviously, like I said, the much higher powered hot hatches, which it would struggle up against something like that. But as you can see, I'm cruising along the motorway, keeping up with everybody, no problem at all. I'm actually in the outside lane overtaking people. I would be going quicker, but there is the average, not the average cameras, but there is the speed cameras, because we've got the 50 limit on this little bit with the variable speed limit. It's just because there's obviously queuing traffic in the inside lane. Everybody's slowing down, so I'm just being careful, just being cautious. You always have to watch for people pulling across in front of you. But it's usually back up to the national speed limit once you get around this bend. They usually have it slow on this bit in the morning because of everybody queuing to come off at that junction 34 of the M1 motorway. Yeah, you see, we're back up to the national speed limit of this camera. See how we picks up speed. So 5th gear, and we're up to 70 already. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not bothered about anything to be particularly faster than that. You know, like I say, it's 40-year-old, keeping up with traffic, overtaking traffic. You know what I mean? No problem at all. No problem at all. So again, the question, can you use a 40-year-old car as a daily driver? You can, absolutely. It does depend what it is. You know, like I said, there's some cars I probably wouldn't want to use as a daily driver from 40 years ago. But I think, as I've said before, the advantage with this car is it's 40-year-old, but it has got some modern upgrades on it. It has got the better brakes. It's got the V6 spec front brakes with the Mariva discs. It's got the rear disc conversion from a Mark III. It's got the 2-litre fuel injected engine from a Mark III. It's got power steering. So it has got some, you know, little minor upgrades. But my previous Mark II Cavalier, Sylvia, she was a completely standard car, standard brakes. The original 1.8 injection engine that she came with when she was brand new, she did actually come with power steering from the factory, that particular one. So that, you know, she was completely standard, apart from she had lowered sports suspension and then different alloys, 15-inch alloys with wider tyres, actually the same size tyres as this 195 50-15s. And to be honest, her standard brakes were perfectly fine. They did the job just fine. Some people say that, you know, the standard brakes on Mark II Cavaliers are rubbish, but I found the standard brakes to be perfectly good. I did. I found the standard brakes to be perfectly good. There was nothing wrong with them at all. There was absolutely nothing wrong with them at all. But I think if you're used to a newer, more modern car and you jump in a standard Mark II with standard brakes, yes, they do feel, you know, like you do have to put quite a lot of pressure on them. You do have to push them quite hard to get them to do anything. But if you're driving the car on a regular basis and you get used to them, they're absolutely fine. They do the job absolutely fine. Like even the brakes on this, even though they are upgraded, they're not as powerful and they're not as sharp as the brakes on a much newer car. But they do the job. They really do the job. You know, they really grab and really, they are definitely better than the brakes on a, you know, standard one with standard brakes. Definitely better, without a doubt they are. But the standard brakes are perfectly fine. They do the job. But I think that's one of the things as well with modern day cars. They have a lot of safety features on, which I think give people a lot of a false sense of security. And I think a lot of people drive more modern cars a bit stupidly because they've got all the safety features. I think a lot of the safety features actually contribute to people driving like idiots, because, you know, traction control and skid control, you know, a lot of the things that will get people out of trouble, if they drove an old car like this without any safety features, without any nanny aids, how would they be able to cope? Because I think, you know, I'm not saying I'm a better driver than anybody else, but because I do drive an old car like this that hasn't got any modern day features on it to get you out of trouble, you know, I've probably got an advantage when it comes to driving in bad weather and stuff, because I don't rely on technology to get me out of trouble, you know. I just rely on my own ability, my own skill to get me out of trouble, because I'm used to driving a car that doesn't do it for me. I'm used to driving a car where I actually have to drive it. I actually have to control it. I'm the one who's I am the traction control. My feet are my traction control. You know, my right foot is the gas and the brake. My left foot is the clutch. That is my traction control, combining. You know what I mean? My ABS is, well, I don't have ABS. I don't have anything. My ABS is basically my right foot. If I have to brake really, really hard and I start to lock up, then I lift off the brake and I pump the brakes and, you know, do it the old-fashioned way like you used to have to do it in the past. You know what I mean? So I'm just having a nice steady cruise this morning. But again, you can see I can quite easily accelerate up to speed, quite easily, you know, without any effort, without any drama. I mean, that's nowhere near full throttle, not even slightly close to full throttle. And as you can see, I can accelerate up, get up to the speed limit, no problem at all. Plus I've got a really nice, lovely, awesome sounding exhaust in the background to keep me entertained as well. If I pull this window down a little bit, you'll hear the exhaust. I love that. This concrete barrier that goes along the edge of the road, the exhaust, how it echoes off it. Oh, it just sounds so nice. I'll drop it down a gear. I just had to do that. And then it finishes, so you don't have the fun on this bit, but yeah. That's what I would miss if I ever got an electric car. You know, that engine noise. You know, people say about electric cars, you know, some people will say, oh, electric cars are so fast, they're so brilliant, they're so awesome. You know, there's so much more fun than a petrol car. Like, really? For me, the problem with electric cars, I know I'm digressing, I'm going on a little tangent, but the problem for me with electric cars is my favourite electric car as a kid was a Dodgem. I loved the Dodgems. So I grew up loving electric cars for fun. But would I want to drive a Dodgem day in, day out on a road? No, I wouldn't, because I like to have an engine noise. So this is an example, you see, of how good the brakes are. Hardly any effort whatsoever, you know, the traffic in front slowed right down. I hardly had to touch the brake at all, and he slows down absolutely no problem. And there you go, there's an example, using a 40-year-old car as a daily. No problem at all. And Sylvia would have done that with her completely standard brakes. Now I've also got Brad, my convertible, which I'm going to do more videos on. Now Brad, he's currently got no front brakes because I borrowed the brakes off of Brad to put on Sylvia, because at one point Sylvia needed the front brake calipers rebuilding again, and I'd already rebuilt them once. So, because that was one problem with the standard Mark II Cavalier brakes, the calipers are notorious for seizing up and just generally being a bit crap. They're not fantastic. It's why one of the first upgrades that most people do actually do is upgrade the brakes, the front calipers. You don't necessarily have to change the discs, just upgrade the calipers to newer style calipers off a Corsa or something. But most people, if they're going to swap the brakes, they actually do upgrade them and fit the bigger ones, like you get on an Astra GTE, Astra GSI, Mark III Cavalier, SRI, that kind of thing. You know, most people do go for the bigger diameter, 156mm. And I have got a set of those to go on Brad when I get to the point of getting him ready for an MOT. So that's one thing I will be doing on Brad. My convertible will be fitting the upgraded front brakes. That is if I do keep him, and I'm still in two minds whether to get him up for sale and sell him, because I know I have kept saying I do really want to sell 3 of the cars that I've got. I could have gone then, but I was being a bit too cautious. I do want to sell 3 of the cars that I've got. I've been way too cautious this morning. I do want to sell 3 of the cars that I've got, because I have got too many. And I have to admit, Brad the convertible is one I am considering selling. So in which case I might keep the upgraded brakes and actually put them on the Nova. But I don't know whether to leave the Nova with the standard brakes or fit the upgraded ones. I ain't decided yet. It's a long way off. It's a long way off. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent like I often do. This video was all about driving a 40-year-old car, and I'm nearly at work. So with that said, thanks a lot for watching, guys. As always, please like, browse, subscribe. Feel free to leave some comments below, and feel free to share my videos with your friends and on groups on Facebook and whatever else. Try and get the message out there. I'm trying to get to the magic 1,000 subs, so all your help is greatly appreciated. All right, I'm just going to go for some fuel first before I go to actually into work. So I'm just going up to the Shell station up here, which is the one that I always go to. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Laters.